What's going on, everybody? Welcome to I believe this is our fourth episode of the BJJ Addict podcast. I'm your host, Real DWC, David Carroll, and I'm here with my co-host as usual as of late, Jer. How's everything?
Not bad.
Yeah, you're quiet today. So ways to get a hold of BJJ Addict. Follow us on Twitter at the BJJ Addict. Type that into Facebook. You'll find us. Also, we have our own YouTube channel. It's blowing up right now. It's doing good. Come check us out. A lot of interviews, cool little films that we do on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Today's guest, guys, is an unbelievable young Keenan Cornelius. He is just won double gold at the Worlds and his weight, and also in absolute. So it's very excited for him to be on this show and let us know what he's doing that maybe we're not doing. Jared, what do you think about this? I believe he's 20 years old.
He's got a long road ahead of him.
So, like, when you hear this, like, a kid younger than yourself winning World Purple Belt, what do you think, though?
He's doing something right. I don't know. I don't know. It's you don't see a lot of kids with that accolade, at that age, to be a purple belt winning tournaments as big as the Worlds. I mean, that's unreal. I mean,
yeah. So do you think competing has everything to do with it? Do you think he already maybe competed enough where there's no more jitters and you just go out and actually perform as good as you do in the dojo?
Well, it's the experience too. I think he's building experience through competition. He's surrounded by good teammates at Team Lloyd Irvin, and probably So I think that helps.
Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. Yeah.
So yourself, though, do you plan on competing more? Like, is this something you'd like to do, or do you just enjoy the art form? And I know we talked about the art in the sport, but do you just enjoy learning and not so much getting out there and trying to prove your skill, or do you find, hey, I want to get out there and I want something, I want people to see me?
To be honest with you, I want to compete at tournaments for like the Worlds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's good to showcase your skill and what you're able to do. And it's a cool experience. It's something that you won't get in the dojo or in a gym. Yeah. It's that experience of being in front of I don't know how many people in the Worlds, but to have that experience, I think it's good to have.
Yeah.
As much as I enjoy the sport or training in the gym, I want to have that. It's a thrill, and I think not everybody has it, but a grappler lives for the moment, and it's something I want to do, and take it a day at a time.
Yeah, definitely. But before we get out there and you go do the Worlds, spend all that money, the flight, the hotel, because it's in California. It's about starting in these we'll call them feeders, I guess, or the smaller, the grassroots tournaments. Do you think, though, that you could go in there and perform as well, or will the nerves get to you, think?
Well, it's a bigger arena, right?
Yeah.
So I think doing the local tournaments and tournaments outside of the city, I think that helps you prepare mentally for something as big as the Worlds or Pan Ams and stuff like that. It's very important to compete as much as you can, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think
I always make it a goal of mine every year to compete in X amount of tournaments. I'm not even close. You say, oh, this year I'm going to get this in. And, it's already June, I believe, like 6 months into the year. And I've only done not even a handful yet. So, I mean, cash has something to do with it. I mean, if I had money to travel, I'd do a lot more. But, when it has nothing to do with cash, you got to go. Like, I'm really kicking my ass when I don't get out there if it's close enough and I can make it,
I think, when we're training in the gym, we train a lot on the physical aspect of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I think when you go to pay for a tournament. I think when you're in there, you're training your mind.
Yeah.
So it becomes a mental training more as a,
That's one thing. We're back to the Keenan being the person on today's episode. We'll have to ask him that because he's competed in so many. He did more matches at the Pan Ams than I probably competed in tournament matches this year. That's just one tournament of his life. So, I mean, obviously could see why his skill set's greater than mine. I want to know, though, like you just said, you were talking about getting used to it and stuff and the mindset. But if you do compete at a tournament, I'm going to sign up and it's just to get the thrill of competing. Well, then maybe that's why my results have only been the thrill of competing, which is an L.
Yeah.
Maybe if you sign up on that, I have friends that, they're so mentally strong, they're almost delusional, but they do pretty good, but they sign up, they're not losing. Even if they do, in their mindset, they're going there to win, opposed to going there and just, I'm going to go test it out, see how I do. Well, then it turns out that I just did mediocre, just like my mindset going into the tournament. That's what I'm going to ask him. And what's your thoughts? You go in a tournament, you sign up, you're going to win it? Or is it just to showcase, okay, everyone's going to see that I am good?
I don't know. Like I'm usually pretty nervous when you're doing your registration. You're like, man, I don't know who I'm going to fight. I don't know how many people I'm going to fight. But as soon as you slap hands, I think that's when a different side of you, exposes itself. I do what I need to do when I go in a competition. After that slap of the hand,
So up until that point, right on the spot, then it just clicks.
Yeah, you just move the way you usually move.
Yeah.
I mean, some people. I think for me, I'm very comfortable to compete, but it's just like before getting on there, you're like, oh man, I'm nervous.
Okay, leading up, a couple weeks out, are you been focusing on specifics, or are you just out there rolling harder than usual? Is the tournament in your mind, or is it just every other day, and then when the tournament comes, I'll bring it to that level? Or are you already in that mindset? Because it's not like MMA. If I was training for MMA, 6 weeks out, all I'm thinking about would be a fight. All I'm going to do is train MMA, and I'm already in a fighter's mindset. And I just don't have that same tenacity or ferociousness in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. As much as I love it, I mean, I don't have that same like killer attitude. You got a chip on your shoulder, you're kind of grumpy, but you're training so hard.
I think the mentality of MMA, if you don't push it before the fight, you're gonna get smashed. Yeah. So I think it's like, man, if I don't train the way I need to, you're gonna get smashed out there.
Do you think it's because it's actually a fight?
Yeah, well, they're both fights, but physically you're getting hurt more in MMA. You're getting punched to the face, And BJJ, it's softer, but it's hard,
Oh, it's still hard, yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying, you think that would help me out? Like, I switch my mindset to like this upcoming tournament. This is just like an MMA fight.
Yeah, I think that's a good mentality. You're more, I would say, you're more sharp. Like your brain is sharper. So yeah,
there comes times in tournaments also. I find wrestling is a huge part of this nowadays. I don't know about what you think, but I find a wrestler, they're a lot to deal with.
Honestly, I did a little bit of wrestling before I did jiu-jitsu, and then I did jiu-jitsu and then just stopped wrestling.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm loving wrestling even more now.
Yeah.
Because it's a big part of. Well, it's not that big part of the game because people jump guard all the time or butt scoot. But
you think they jump guard because they don't want to get taken down?
Yeah. But I think it's very important because I think certain movements from wrestling can help, in your jiu-jitsu game. And it's. I don't know a lot of people that work on the wrestling.
Yeah.
But I think it's important. Very, very important.
I was just thinking that goes back to everything. If it's a fight and someone's got a single leg on me, I'm going to fight for my life not to end up on my back.
Yeah.
Whereas in a tournament, the same situation. The guy's got a single and, I try, but if I'm going down, I'm going down. I got I'm not gonna get punched in the face, so I don't defend it as good. And then next thing you know, you're down two, and if you don't pull guard or on the takedown, you're in side control. You lost a couple more, and you're in trouble. It's that's all goes back to a mental everything, a complete package.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. Just wrestling gives you that stamina and that power too. I would say if you worked on wrestling, I mean, I don't know. They go
Yeah.
hand in hand.
No, but someone grabs a single on you. Are you fighting for your life, or is it just we're at the gym having fun?
Well, well, if you're getting singled
Yeah, single,
in
double leg,
practice,
anything.
well, you fight the way you train, right? So if somebody has a single leg on me on practice, I'm going to defend that single. Uh, Plus, in a tournament, you're not gonna let them take you down and get the 2 points.
That's what I'm saying. So do
So
you train like that?
yeah,
Then?
I fight. Well, for wrestling, yeah, if somebody's gonna try to take me down, I'm defending with everything I got. So
Since you wrestle, I got a quick throw it in there. Wrestling, but with the gi on now.
uh
How do you like that?
I don't like it.
No?
Honestly, like if you're a good wrestler or a bad wrestler and someone tries to shoot on you, it's very hard because you can't clear without them, grabbing something.
Yeah.
So if it was judo, maybe, but wrestling is very hard to do. I mean, I'm not a collegiate wrestler or NCAA or whatever, but no, I don't like wrestling with the gi. No, it's very you can't. I don't know.
It's a whole different ballgame.
With the arm drags.
But I'm saying you do tournaments, you start off standing. If you wanted to implement some wrestling, you got to start doing it with the gi on too. So
the wrestling. What I like about the wrestling with the gi on is that you could do because I do a lot of arm drags to single legs, Marcelo style, and it adds that friction and the tightness to your wrestling. It's the same thing for doing BJJ with the gi.
Oh yeah, totally. I agree. I find it personally, I find it a lot of fun to mix it up. Since we do the tournaments start from standing, I like to mix a little bit of the judo I know, and wrestling. But one thing I realized is, and if I'm wrong, guys, hit me up on Twitter and give me some flack there. But I honestly don't think your judo has to be that stellar. If you know a couple throws and you understand the posture while doing some stand up with the gi on and the gripping properly, I mean, you actually could really do a lot of damage on people. I mean, with crappy judo.
Yeah, sure.
So
I like it. You don't see a lot of the sorry, what was I saying?
You don't see a lot of.
You don't see a lot of like the high level. Well, maybe it depends on the weight category, but like Ryan Hall and all them, they don't really go for takedowns.
They don't have to.
Yeah,
they're that
good. So good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not at that level where I could sit on my butt and just have a good laugh. Like, you don't know what is about to happen if you even come down here. I don't have that level, and I don't have the luxury of being able to be taken down sometimes. So, I mean, I got to try to wrestle on somebody offensively, not even as a defensive style. Like, I got to go out there and I got to try to get the takedown so I could start playing some.
You should check out Wilson Hayes for some inspiration.
You kind of look like him. I know you guys can't see him there, but right now, Jer here, he looks like Wilson Hayes. Sometimes he walks around the dojo and emulates him. It's quite a good laugh for me and the people that are around us. I mean, some of our friends don't even know what you're doing, but I know, and that's all that matters. How's training been since last week we talked?
It's pretty good. Working a lot on guard passing. Guard passing is my main focus right now because it's
because being in guard sucks.
Well, I want to be more of the aggressor.
Yeah,
and I think if you have a good guard passing game, that's when you start to play your game.
Absolutely, I realize that there's something happened to you, and the phone's ringing, so we'll let this ring.
So it's for us.
I know. All right, guys. Be patient, please.
Please leave your message for 5309.
It was. We'll go back to telling the story about Jared. So, Jared, we go to Tristar, the world famous Tristar gym, home of UFC poster boy George St. Pierre, Mr. Rush. You know, out of all, I mean, that's a huge name there. Roy McDonald. We could go all day. Yves Jambois, Ivan Menjivar.
Nabil Khatib.
Yeah, our coach, Nabil Khatib. Nick Denis from Ottawa. I mean, my personal favorites, Dennis Kang, David Loiseau, the Crow. I mean, you can't top. This is like a who's who of MMA that trains at this one gym. And, of course, that's headed by the great Firas Zahabi, mastermind.
Sure.
Me and Jared, we go to Montreal to do a class with our coach, Nabil. And Firas is teaching. So, I mean, I've been there a couple times, and I never had him teach the class. So we're doing class, and me and Jared, we love playing off our backs and trying deep half, and and we do some open roll with him, and he basically tells us in a nice way to help our game that, you know, the deep half, it works for guys like Jeff Glover, Ryan Hall. You know, there's certain people that can play deep half, and it's so effective. Where we are stylistically, it doesn't mesh as well with our styles. And I didn't take it. None of us took offensively, but I didn't take it and say I'm going to stop. But Jared hears something like this from Firas, and instantly he's never going to be on his back again. And I haven't seen him. That's where the open guard. That's why I want to tell people this. You haven't been on your back since. You turned into like one thing from Firas, and you turned into like a monster.
Yeah, you know, it's.
Is that what it took? Is someone like him to tell you this?
Yeah, because he knows what he's doing. And, well, my deep half guard got a lot better.
Yeah.
But I think it's more important to be more aggressive, because I think certain key movements like guard passing will lead you into, doing better, certain other positions.
Yeah.
And I think, it's hard to play off top. It's because you always got to be moving, always staying tight. So I think that's a good point to start having my mind to work on, is that guard passing. And like I've been not to go go crazy or anything, but I think my game has improved a lot better. I've been smashing from top. So I think it's very important. Like Kimura John.
Yeah.
John Shera. He
was the first ever co-host on the BJJ Addict episode 1.
And he's good off top.
Oh my God.
So
I always admired his top game, and I just never got around to playing it. In my mind, I was too small to be on top, making up excuses. So I played off my back for so long, but I also am enjoying top game. But I will not give up being on my back unless it's at a tournament, because I've lost too many matches by 2 points, couple points, because I've been on my back. Yeah. I mean, you got to have that mindset. How was it rolling with Firas, by the way? What did you think of that?
I got smashed.
Yeah.
He's heavy.
For people that don't know, sorry, he's I believe he's a Renzo Gracie black belt. And, people always probably wonder, well, he's the coach and he doesn't roll at a high level. And, people might say this from the outside because they never see him compete. But I see him roll with other people too, like high level.
He's won some tournaments too, like in Brazil and all that. I think
he's phenomenal.
He's very good, and he's tight.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah, like when I went for the deep half and I went for the sweep, it's I wanted him on his back, but he just hopped right off because he doesn't want to give up the 2 points. I mean, everything he does is like.
That's one thing I really I liked when we were there too, is right away after that, he was showing some people some deep half escapes, because some people haven't seen that before, because it's not a common game people play at a lower belt level. It's not like you don't see deep half everywhere. You see it specifically for a couple people.
But actually, there was one thing that came out of it from our visit to Tristar. One of the guys, the blue belts, I was rolling with them and I was smashing him with the deep half. And after Faraz had showed him some deep half escapes, I think he learned something. And I saw him at a tournament. It was the Montreal Grappling.
Yeah.
A week later, and somebody did a deep half on him, and he defended it. So I felt like I gave something. We gave something, definitely.
Not we, you gave something.
Oh, well, you played.
Yeah, I got the privilege to roll for us also, and I thought, honestly, I don't know if it was as long as I thought, but you ever roll sometimes and you think it's forever, but it's not. But I had that feeling with him, but I would have to say it was over 10 minutes, to be honest. And
they don't do times there.
Yeah.
Like usually, usually I think at our gym,
yeah,
I train. Well, we train 5-minute rounds.
Yeah.
And we'll have like a drink of water and we'll come back on the mats. At TriStar, I was rolling 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and this guy, my ego was too big. I was like, man, I'm not tapping out to exhaustion. And
that's
we're rolling, and I see this guy getting tired, so I was like, all right, maybe I'll give 5 more minutes. And it was like 20 minutes in, and finally he he's like, I'm tired. I was like, yeah. But I guess in a way that's good because it prepares you for
another thing he told me. It was not even the deep half. It was my my bottom game. You kind of stiff arm and try to hold someone off. You're using so much effort. He was just trying to tell me to like go with it a little bit more and not me force, but he forces in. The whole the be like water theory for Bruce Lee type of thing. But for more of a grappling standpoint, and that I did take in consideration. And sometimes it takes more than hearing it. I gotta get that out of my head. There's people that do striking forever, and they have that one bad habit. Their hands drop when they do a front kick, or something along those lines. This is my bad habit on bottom. I was somewhere else recently, and the same thing was told to me. Like, I can't force so much and like use so much of my own. I'm getting tired or wasting my muscles for no reason.
Actually, I heard something from Chris Bailey.
Chris Bailey got a shout out.
Chris Bailey. He was saying that, for me, I change styles all the time. Like,
mm-hmm.
I'm in search of like building and developing my own style. Like, I want a good tight guard passing.
Yep.
And I love deep half and I love taking the back. He's like, I think certain things you do will strengthen other positions. Like when I sucked at half guard.
Yeah.
Regular half guard, the triangle of the leg half guard.
Yeah.
And I was just getting smashed. Like when I started at Team Bushido, I was getting Kimura John.
Yeah.
And then I found the deep half and I was working on it. And my regular half guard just got better. Stuff like that.
That's a great point, because you're right. Until I started playing top and believing in the moves I was doing and stuff, it actually even helped my bottom game, because I started seeing what people were doing, reacting when I'm on top. And you take some pointers, what works, and you throw some other stuff out, and you have some counters now, and then you get to see what they do. And that's a good reason. Another thing you said, another thing I heard before, I don't know how true this is, but a lot of times you hear whatever you started doing and developing as a blue belt, you kind of carry on through. You don't change much. Like, the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So come purple, brown, and black, you're not going to be changed that much from blue. So now's the time to get out there and find out what you like.
Yeah. And especially with guard passing, like I want to venture off into MMA. So I think it's a very important skill to have, and a very strong skill that you should.
What does MMA stand for?
Hello.
Hello, Keenan.
Hey, sorry about that. I was just away from my phone for a few minutes.
Oh, that's usually when people call. It always happens to me. So I'm the host, David Carroll. I'm here with my co-host, Jared.
What's happening?
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for taking time out.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I was saying thanks for taking some time out to talk to us.
No problem. My pleasure.
So, let's get right into it. Fresh off, double gold, your weight class, absolute at the Worlds. This is after winning the Europeans, the Brazilian Nationals, and the Pan Ams, doing also your weight in absolutes. Has anything changed since then, or is it just every other day is the same?
I don't know. I'm really happy most of the time now. Like I just walk around sort of just basking in my own glory.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm just hanging out. I'm just really glad it's all over. It's a long and stressful journey.
Oh, absolutely. I was saying before you got in, just at the Pan Ams, I believe you had 10 matches, 7 by subs. I was saying you competed more on that one day than I have this year in tournament matches. So I find that incredible. With that being said, how important is it to progress, especially the rate you're going? Is it all from competing?
No, it's all from training, honestly.
Yeah?
Because my training, like, I don't want this to come off as arrogant, but the training I do is so intense, and I'm training with such high-level guys that when I go into, like, especially just the Purple Belt division, which isn't a very high, like, it's a high-level division, it's Pan Ams and Worlds, but it's not compared to training with JT Torres and DJ Jackson and Jordan Schultz every day. And we do 10 matches every day. So when I went to Pan Ams, it was just another day where I'm fighting people who just aren't as good as my teammates, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. We're saying that the iron sharpens the iron, so this just goes to say that it is true. You just touched on your training a bit. How intense is it? How many hours a day? I heard rumors and stuff. You know, you look up info on people. I just want to know and let the people know, how long do you train in one day?
I have a really unique opportunity and experience at Team Lloyd Irvin. Like, I've dedicated myself fully to jiu-jitsu, and so I do it full time now. I train about 6 hours a day.
My God. And 6 hours a day. Do you mind breaking that down for us a bit of what goes on in a 6 hour day for
it sounds like a lot, but most of it's drilling, actually, because we couldn't keep up 6 hours of high intensity training, but like 3 or 4 hours of that is mostly drilling. And we have a drilling session before each competition class. So at 10 in the morning, we drill for an hour and a half before we get right into competition class, where sometimes we'll actually drill for about a half an hour going into the competition class at 11:30, and then usually we get right into rolling. There's no technique taught. We just go right to live rounds, and then we come back at 4:30, do an hour of drilling, and then after that we have 8:30 training, which is another competition class, which is mostly live rolling.
Wow. When you say drilling, is this, I mean, without giving too much secrets away, but is it specifics, like, is it something that maybe someone, regardless if they scored a point on you or whatever, something that maybe happened at a tournament, or is it just something that your coaches think that you guys should be working on, or is it specifically something that happened to you per se, and then you drill how to fix that?
It's more drilling specifically for each person. Each person's different techniques and different style of jiu-jitsu. So Master Lloyd tells you what you should be drilling, whether it's a sweep or passes or submissions, and then he usually encourages us to drill what we're already best at, just to make it even better and better and better and faster and smoother. But then we do all sorts of different live competition drills too, like different little things that really help out in the tournament setting.
When you
the
say
majority
live
of it is
sparring,
drilling techniques.
Yeah, sorry. When you say live sparring, like the rolls go live, are you rolling with your teammates at as hard as you guys can go? Is that how you stay so sharp? Or is there times where you're just goofing around having fun, or is there no time for that now?
Not during competition season. We're pretty much, whenever we fight, it's a fight to the death each match.
Wow.
There's not a whole lot of, like, if you go easy in a round, when, like, say you're rolling with DJ, you'll just get crushed because he's not going to go easy back.
when you develop yourself into a grappler and create a certain style, do you ever have the audience in mind, or is it just get the job done as quickly as possible?
Like as far as like people watching my matches.
Yeah, like do you want to have like a flashy fight, or do you just want to finish?
I mean, I like to get submissions just to get the match over with, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so, because I don't like it really bothered me when people talk about how my match with Paulo Miao was boring. And it's true, it was really boring, but it did get to me, and I felt bad kind of for not attacking more, but I had a strategy I had to stick with for him. But for most of the time, I really try and push the pace and attack submissions.
But that's awesome. Speaking of finishing matches, I don't know who first ever did it or where it came from, but you were actually the first person I've ever seen do it. Was the I believe that won you the Pan Ams too, was the armbar from 50-50. Where did that come from?
I talked about this with JT and tried to figure out where I saw it from. I don't remember if I saw him do it and I started doing it, but that's not really a move I do very often. I'd never really drilled it before, but for some reason that move just really made sense at Pan Ams, and I was able to get it twice in the finals of my division.
If I loved my Mac,
absolute.
If I didn't love my Mac so much, I would have threw it across the room in excitement. I was losing it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it felt really good to get those, and both of the submissions happened really fast in under a minute. And I think it's mostly just because it's such an unconventional move. It takes people by surprise. Because ever since I've done that, I've tried it in a lot of the matches that I've competed in since, and people are always defending it really well now. And it's significantly harder to even set up the position.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Maybe they thought it was going to become your trademark, so...
Yeah.
I got a question, if you don't mind. Can we go back to how you started?
Yeah, I started Jiu-Jitsu when I was 14 and a half. I trained at just a local gym with some wrestlers from my high school, and we only trained about once a week, but I started getting more serious into it and doing a lot of research online and learning from YouTube. And I eventually moved out to BJ Penn's because he was my idol at the time. I was really into UFC and watching MMA, and I knew that he had won the Black Belt World Championships in only 3 years, so I thought, wow, that's probably the best place to train. And I didn't really do that much research. I didn't really look into other jiu-jitsu gyms, and so I moved out there, and I trained out there for 3 years. And then they're more of an MMA-focused school, and I was looking for more of a competition jiu-jitsu setting. And I heard about Team Lloyd Irvin and Master Lloyd, and it turned out someone that I had trained with before was actually out there, and I had stayed in contact with him. And so he told me about how awesome it was, and then I eventually decided to go out there.
That's cool. I heard that you never won anything until you joined Team Lloyd Irvin. Is this a fact?
Yeah, to an extent. I've won some Nagas and smaller local tournaments in Hawaii, and I won the U.S. Open at White Belt, my very first tournament ever. But from 2010 to 2011, every IBJJF tournament I entered, I lost first or second round.
Wow.
And actually, 2010, I fought Jordan Schultz actually in the third round. That was the farthest I made it. I fought to the third round and lost to Jordan Schultz, who's now my teammate and was a former roommate, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, are you mentally as strong in the gym as you are on tournament day? Because we were talking about this before, how, I'm not as focused leading up to even a smaller tournament, let alone I couldn't imagine what the hell the Worlds would do to me mentally. But I'm not mentally as focused until I get on the mat that day, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, it's time to go, maybe I'll do good. How focused are you during your training?
I used to have a big problem with how hard the training was at Team Irvin. I would quit sometimes and sort of give up and just let people tap me out because I was so tired. But that's something that gets bred out of you really quickly in that environment, and you sort of just go to another place mentally. I try not to think about anything too much when I'm training or when I'm competing, because I feel like that can really mess people up. Overanalyzing things and hyping yourself up too much, or just getting too stressed out. So I try and just keep a clear head and not think about anything other than just being in the moment and just trying to let my instincts and my jiu-jitsu that I have confidence in take over.
That's awesome. We're wondering, who are some guys that you look up to and perhaps maybe want to, even you kind of based your game off theirs a bit to start?
I would say, like, in the early part of my jiu-jitsu career, like as a white and blue belt, I really liked Shinya Aoki because I was more of an MMA fan, but I loved the jiu-jitsu in MMA, and I liked Shinya Aoki a lot because he had such a flexible style, and I could do a lot of the moves he did. Like, I would always try and do gogoplatas, and in a lot of ways it kind of messed me up because I was trying to learn these super advanced moves without really having a full concept of the basics, and so when I went to Team Lloyd, I sort of had to relearn the basics from Master Lloyd, like understanding the concept of grips and pressure and hand positioning and knee positioning. And now, I don't know, I would try and just watch a little bit of everyone, and just if I see something that I like and I feel like I can do it, I'll just try and add it to my game. But I really like Adolfo's game. I love how smooth his passing is, and I like Bucec's intensity a lot. And then I watch a lot of lower belts too. Like, actually, it's kind of ironic, but the Miao brothers really influenced a lot of my guard game. I used to watch them a lot, and I'd study their De La Riva game and their Barembolo stuff, and they really helped me a lot.
Before you get to that, the Barembolo and some of those crazy De La Riva sweeps, how you said Master Lloyd taught you or re-instilled the basics inside you. How important is that for someone coming up to get good at the basics?
It's huge because like 90% of submissions in tournaments are arm bars, triangles, and kimuras and chokes, like the basic 4 submissions. And it's not really important to learn any of the flashy cool stuff because it's so low percentage as far as actually hitting it. And you can be a really great grappler without ever learning anything too fancy. That's why it's like really tempting to learn like the Eddie Bravo rubber guard stuff, but I think people are starting to get away from that more and just try and just learn jiu-jitsu in its pure form, just the basic stuff.
That's very well put. Jared here's got a question for you.
Speaking of MMA, do you think you'd ever, maybe fight in MMA one day, or is that too far down the road to tell?
I've thought about it a lot, and I've done some MMA sparring here at Team Lloyd Urban. We have actually a really good MMA team, and I got into it for a little while, but I decided like I wanted to have a stronger base in jiu-jitsu first before I got into it. I didn't want to like sort of rush into it. And, I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good jiu-jitsu base for MMA because in MMA it's not a very technical level of jiu-jitsu. People focus more on just the wrestling and ground and pound. But I don't know. I dabbled in it a little, but right now my true passion is just doing competition jiu-jitsu.
Speaking of wrestling, how often do you train wrestling?
Very rarely, actually, especially these past few months. I try to stay within what I know already, which is just guard pulling. But every once in a while I'll get real confident and I'll try and stand with DJ or Frank Camacho and they'll just throw me and double legs real hard. But I keep trying. I'm working on it slowly.
I find wrestling's it's something that takes a long time to develop. I'm still working on it myself, and it's actually the hardest thing for me to learn for some odd reason.
Yeah, wrestling can be really tough. It's a whole different cardio involved with wrestling for some reason. Like I get so gassed wrestling, whereas jiu-jitsu I can roll for forever basically, but wrestling's a little different. Same thing with boxing too. If you try boxing, I feel like I'm in good shape for my jiu-jitsu training, but when I box, man, I get so fatigued.
Yeah, that's a whole nother element. The shoulders burning, and it's cool. I personally love doing both. I find it adds a good element to my grappling as far as cardio goes. But I think just focusing on one is probably the smartest move for anyone if they do want to get into MMA down the line. Do you agree?
I feel like if you have a base in something already, it's good to stick with that and try and cultivate that as far as you can possibly take it. But if you're starting MMA, you want to do MMA, and you don't really have a specialty, I think it's probably best to work them all. That's what's so cool about DJ. Like people don't realize DJ is going to have a really promising MMA career because he started at Team Lloyd Urban as a white belt, and he's been doing striking and wrestling and jiu-jitsu all the way up. So he's really good at it all. And I feel like that's the next generation of MMA fighter. the people who've been training at all their entire career of training martial arts.
Yeah. So how hard was it though to leave a place like Hawaii? I mean, most people are trying to bust their ass to make it out to Hawaii just to spend 7 days. How hard was that?
It wasn't hard at all, honestly. I had different priorities. I wasn't really like living there just to enjoy the beaches or the weather or anything. And like I also, not a lot of people know this, I was born in Hawaii and I lived there until I was 7, and then I just moved back the last 3 years before I came out to Team Lord Urban. And so I've kind of had my fill with Hawaii. There's something we call island fever when you're on the island for too long and you start to realize that you can drive across it in 2 hours and you sort of feel trapped. So once you're out there for a little while, people tend to like want to leave almost. And for me, I just really wanted to do jiu-jitsu, and I was willing to do anything to get in a good situation to do that. So it wasn't that hard for me at all.
Well, I think you obviously, it just shows that you made a smart choice. I mean, the results don't lie. I mean, numbers never lie. So I got a question. Have you received a brown belt, or is this on the radar? Or I mean, obviously you don't get to make the call, but after a year like this, I mean, if I was a purple belt, man, I wouldn't want to see your face again. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm hoping when I get back, I get my first stripe, my purple belt, and then maybe 4 more years of this, and then maybe I'll get my brown belt.
How long have you been a purple belt for?
I've been a purple belt for 2 years. And I'm just kidding about the stripe thing. I really don't know. I'm not sure.
That was good, though. Yeah, I honestly believed it, so it was nice. Yeah. I guess it's up to your teacher always, I mean, they always know best, so... I mean, does it matter to you, though, what division? Or are you dying to be at the black belt level to show that you could duplicate this at the highest possible level, or are you just enjoying the journey that you're having so far?
Yeah, it's like they always say, it's the journey that you should enjoy, not the destination, right? So I'm just like enjoying training jiu-jitsu and just being fortunate enough to be in a situation where I get to compete so much, and also that I've also been able to be so successful too. I'm just kind of enjoying the ride. I'm in no rush to do anything.
Is that something you find is a big problem these days? Are people too much in a rush to reach a belt maybe they shouldn't even be representing?
I don't know. I can't really speak for other people. I mean, if that's their priority, if that's what they want to do, that's fine. But I like to try and be the best at each belt level. That was my goal, especially at purple belt. I really wanted to learn as much as I could at this belt level and try and take it to as far as I could so that I knew I really earned my brown belt if and when I finally get it. Like that's really important to me, just to be able to be like guaranteed I have the knowledge or the technique or whatever comes together to be promoted. I wanted to make sure I had that before I get next belt level.
I respect that. I'm gonna take a little bit of that and add it to myself.
Since you've been doing BJJ, what's something that doing the sport has given you, you know, outside of the mats? What has it done for you?
Mostly, I just like having something that I've been so dedicated to. I've never had anything that I followed through and followed so intently and focused. Like school, I never really gave school 100% of my attention or my focus, and I never really got very good grades or anything. So it's nice to have something that I've dedicated myself fully to and just seeing the fruits of the labor, you know? I don't know, it's just giving me kind of a purpose, too. Like, this is what I do. It's attached to my identity. I am a jiu-jitsu guy, you know?
Yeah.
I agree. Last thing before you go, what's some upcoming goals for Keenan Cornelius? What's next for you?
Right now, I'm already mentally training myself to do it all again next year. Hopefully at brown belt level. Well,
I really hope to see that. I'm a fan of yours, by the way. I enjoy watching all your matches. And thank you for taking some time out. Before we let you go, is there anything you just want to drop some knowledge or anything you want to say to people, or you want to thank anyone? That's rude. No, I'm joking. I can't hear him right now, guys, so maybe he's thanking someone right now. Oh, I apologize, guys. The call was over before I got that in. So, anyways, that was enjoyable talking with a young kid like Keenan Cornelius. And, I mean...
He's definitely one to look out for in the future, that's for sure. If you watch his fight, it's very entertaining, actually.
Yeah, I found he was a little hard on himself with the boring part. I mean, maybe you got to do what you got to do to get that W and get the title. So up until maybe that match, they're always exciting. But even that one, he said that was boring. I found it really intriguing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can't have the flashiest fights all the time. I mean, it's just the way it is.
So were you expecting? Man, he gave great answers. I was like. It's cool that he does want to have an exciting match, opposed to just go out there, blanket someone, get the job done. You're up, you get 2 points and just hold on and blanket him. He wants to finish fights. These are people I like. This is why I loved BJ Penn when he started MMA. And even now I love BJ, period. But, he goes out and he wants to just finish fights. Those people like that, I like that a lot.
I think it's something to do with the heart, I mean, he put he made some huge sacrifices from the sounds of it, moving from Hawaii to accomplishing goals that he's already accomplished.
Yeah.
And he's at that stage probably, where the sport is so green inside, and that's the thing. That's when you get.
Would you right now, let's say your training's taken care of. Financially, you'll have enough to get by. You're capable of training like him, 6 hours a day, but you have to relocate right now. That means family, friends, everything, and you have to go equal distance from Hawaii to Maryland, or I think that's where Lloyd Irvins is. Would you do that sacrifice to get to that level?
Honestly, I would. And I love the sport as much as a lot of other people, and to have an opportunity to have that, it's once in a lifetime thing.
Do you think,
especially at this age,
it's way easier said than done?
Yeah,
there's been times where I've hit a dead end per se, and I read a quote before, like sometimes when you hit a dead end, that's just them telling you it's time to go in a different direction. And so sometimes when I think there's no other options, I try to create a new one. And there's many times I wanted to go out to Thailand. I wanted to do some Thai out there, maybe do a Thai fight. There's been times, I want to pack up and I gotta go here. But, there's something that always keeps me staying home, it's something that just, I can't get out of this area, whether a new relationship blossoms, work opportunities come up. But if you're young, if you guys are out there and you hear Keenan Cornelius say, I moved down there because I want to be the best at BJJ, and look what he's accomplished. So if you find that spot that you need to be at, I say go there. Go when you're young. You'll have your whole life. You can do that and come back at 30 and it's 10 years later. You could do a lot.
And I could speak through personal experience too. Like when I trained at a gym that I don't want to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Going into another gym, I knew when I was going to go there, I was going to get destroyed. And, I was like, man, this is a move that I need to do. In certain, especially with this sport, you're really in charge of your fate.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a good grappler, you got to go to the place that's going to provide you with the tools to have, the best game around. But, it's...
Do you find, though, the more you talk to people that are performing well or coaches that have students that are performing well, I know you only did a couple so far, but there's certain things that always pop up. there's the odd difference, but there's always the certain foundations that pop up with everyone that talks in this sport that's successful. And the word's basics. Like,
yeah, I've gone back to the basics, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm not doing as many flashy stuff. I'm still working on the basics too.
Yeah.
Like with the side of flashy.
Yeah. Key points that I heard were basics to me that really rung a bell. And he said something about like chest pressure or shoulder pressure.
Yeah.
And this is something I did have to. It takes a while to integrate. I can't say the word. Integrate into your game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like shoulder pressure. I always, oh man, that's cheap. Yeah. I feel bad. And then everyone does it on me. It's part of the sport. It's part of the game. So I started using it, but it's effective. Oh. So some of these things, chest pressure, shoulder pressure, keeping tight.
Here's another shout out to Chris Bailey. I never went for kimuras, and I never went for, moves or positions that, grinded your opponent or did, just one of those after the roll, you go up to your partner, you're like, oh man, that guy was an asshole. Or whatever. I started using that because I found like my success rate for submitting people have, increased. And
well, when you had no subs before, now you got one.
I'm getting subs now because I'm starting to turn into an asshole when I roll.
Yeah.
So I think
it's not really being an asshole though, Jared.
It's doing the sport.
It's doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I think it just fills in holes that you had. Now, it's important to do that type of stuff.
That's part of the basics that I am going into, like with guard passing. Like you gotta stick to the guy,
Yeah.
You can't give an inch or a centimeter or a millimeter.
Yeah, I found that with top side now. Very important position, because let's say you get the guard pass easily, maybe. I mean, I don't know why you would, but you pass this guy's guard. But if you don't know some top side now, you can't hold it. Now when it takes you, a while to pass this guy's open guard, you're already tired and you got top side. If you can't hold it, all that hard work's out the window.
Yeah, so, that's where learning another position comes in handy.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking before Keenan came on and gave us a great interview and spoke with us. And guys, he lost connection near the end, so I'm sure he would have shout out some, Team Lloyd Irvin and stuff like that. And he already said what he had to say, probably. So, I'm sure he just would have thanked his team and his teammates. So I'd like to give Keenan a shout out again and say thanks. No worries about the last part of the call. I mean, it always happens. So just want to say thanks again if you're listening, or if you do listen to this later on. But back to what I wanted to touch on before. What were we just talking about before this? I just lost my train of thought.
Shoulder pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot of shoulder pressure talk. But anyways, I lost my train of thought now. So thanks for that, Jer.
Side control, something like that.
Yeah, it was all along that whole.
If you want, I could rewind this.
Yeah, go back, and then let me rethink what I was gonna say there. No, but guard passing, super important. It was along those lines of importance.
I think since I hear it, drill, I think it's something that I should start taking into consideration and doing more of. Because I do a lot of, or us as a team do a lot of live rolling, and we stop to ask questions, blah blah blah. But I think we don't drill what we're good at.
Yeah,
as much as we should.
I don't. I know what you're saying, but I think you have to drill all the other stuff and find out what you're specifically good at to be able to drill it. Whereas we're still in that stage right now where we need to learn a lot, and we have to relearn a lot to get it to become second nature. Like you were saying about the Kimura thing. Yeah, I don't go for Kimura that often either, but it's always there. Like, it's a great move. It's just not something. I remember what I was gonna say. It's not something that I go for. Here's what I was gonna say. A jack of all trades or being good at one specific thing. What's better? I've heard like it's better to be good at one thing and branch all around that, opposed to I'm like, I know a lot of stuff in every position. I know a couple moves here and there, but man, I don't have one move that I just know. Like, we call Kimura John, guys, a reason, because he goes for Kimuras all time and he nails them. He's built a whole game around Kimura. Like, what do you think? Jack of all trades or good at one thing?
Yeah, I think it's
Are you becoming, what are you trying to do? You specifically.
Me specifically, I want to, yeah, you know, I'll work. I would say I like to work on one thing. Like, I like taking the back.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But right now I'm working on, you know, guard passing. So in a way it's...
Yeah, but do you want to get so good at guard passing? Like, your whole game's off guard passing?
Guard passing, yeah.
That's what you want. That's what you want.
I would make that my whole game if I could.
See, I have nothing. I have nothing still. I'm like a jack of all trades as we speak.
Well, we're still young in the sport, right? So.
A jack of all trades. Is that a downfall?
Well...
Should I find something? Like, should I start working one thing? That's all I'm saying.
I guess I don't have the knowledge to answer that, but I mean,
I'm gonna ask our next guest.
I would say, you know, you're allowing your body to know how certain positions feel like.
Yeah.
But as opposed to mastering different positions, I think it would be pretty bad for that.
No, but like, imagine I knew I need to get the match to cross body so I could do this lapel choke and I could win all the time. Is that not better than saying, like, I could do this, I could do that, maybe I'll try this, yeah, maybe I'll do that?
Well, what are the chances of hitting it is the question.
But, I mean, if you do that drill, like you said, drilling, if you do one thing constantly and you make it your move because you love it, it becomes a higher success rate. Next week, guys, next week on the BJJ Addict podcast, whoever is on, I'm not telling you guys, we are going to ask that question, guys. So people on Twitter who follow the show, hit me up. Let me know what you think ahead of time. We'll get a little thing going. Jack of all trades or knowing one specific move. Bruce Lee quote, thank you to Erica, Fight Fans Radio. I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Hit me up, guys.
Also, another George St. Pierre quote. Well, I don't think it belongs.
That was Bruce Lee, but yeah.
Another thing he said before
was that he's not impressed with your performance.
Yeah, that too.
All right.
Well, it wasn't his quote, probably, but he says the person who wins the war is the one who has more knowledge.
That's probably
more weapons.
It's probably Sansu who said that, but you know, it could be George St. Pierre, and if he said it, it's now his quote forever, because that's how famous the man is right now.
If it's not his, then I won't be impressed.
But so, guys, let's get in on this. Tell me what you are on Twitter. Let me know. Are you a jack of all trades, or are you you got one specific move? Are you you know, you hit the silly sweep all the time, or you're a triangle guy? I really want to know. And next week I'll ask the guest, jack of all trades or a master of none. Jack of all trades, master of none. That's what it is. And it should be fun. So before we leave, guys, thanks for listening again. Remember, follow the BJJ Addict on Twitter. Jared's got something to say.
What's one thing you want to accomplish this week in BJJ? Next for free, I'm talking to you.
Oh, literally to me. That's a good question for the people.
Everybody. What is one thing you would like to accomplish this week in BJJ?
That's great. I'll answer it, though. When we get back on the podcast 7 days from now, I would have liked to try to come up with something that I enjoy practicing specifically. I'm gonna figure out all my silliness and everything I do. I want to find one thing that I enjoy doing so much that I would like to build maybe a game around. So, and then I'll get an answer. And then if someone tells me, you know what? No, you could be a jack of all trades. Then I'll kind of forget that, kind of like that pivotal moment you had with Firas talking to us.
Yeah.
So I would love to get that knowledge from someone higher up and who's seen a lot more. So, but next week we talk this whole week. I'm going to try to find something that I do enjoy more than the rest. I do really love guillotines, but it's a no-gi type of move, I find, opposed to the gi. That's a whole nother topic, but I love that so much, but it's not like a Kimura where there's a whole amazing sequences.
I like the bow and arrow. I'm into the bow and arrow, actually. It's always there, I find.
So there we go. This week we'll have bow and arrow and guillotine matches, and it'll be fun. So, guys, remember Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, BJJ Addict TV for most of them, except for the Twitter is the BJJ Addict. Follow Fight Fans Radio. That's at Twitter and Facebook. YouTube page, guys. Help their YouTube grow. Subscribe. Support Jiu-Jitsu. That's it, man. I love doing this, guys. I really do. So hopefully, we all grow together in this sport. I'm still learning. I'm a blue belt. I want everyone's input. I'm very open-minded. I love talking about jiu-jitsu. I'm telling you right now, I try to answer everything on Twitter. I really do. If you hit me up on Twitter, test me out. And if it's not, the spam or something so ridiculous like I eat toast, I'll get back to you. We'll actually talk. And my other Twitter is my personal. That's real DWC. Same thing, guys. I try to talk to everyone. I'm very friendly. I love talking about BJJ, MMA, you name it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. Next week we'll have another great guest. More, crazy topics. I can't say another word. We might get sued. I don't know. I think it's taken. So crazy Tuesday topics will happen. And thank you, Jer.
Thank you.
And all right, guys, we'll see you next week.